Good evening, my News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, pathologist says Deane's injuries consistent with blunt force trauma. Dr. Murari Sarangi, the forensic pathologist who performed the autopsy on Deane in 2014, said the deceased showed injuries consistent with blunt force trauma. Sarangi, now retired, testified via Zoom during today's 9th day of evidence against Corporal Elaine Stewart and the Constables Juliana Cleavon and Marlon Grant, the three officers charged in relation to Deane's death. He told the Westmoreland Circuit Court today that he performed the autopsy on September 2, 2014, less than a month after Deane died at the Cornwall Regional Hospital on August 6 that year. Deane was admitted to the hospital in an unconscious state 3 days earlier on August 3 after being beaten while in custody at the Barnett Street Police Station lockup for possession of a ganja spliff. Sarangi told the court that in his examination of Deane's body, he noticed a bruise on the right side of Deane's head and the face that was consistent with blunt force trauma. He said that such an injury could have been sustained from being struck against a wall or with a blunt object. The doctor also testified that during his time working in Jamaica from 1999 to 2023, he was the only forensic pathologist working in Western Jamaica and that he conducted 1,000 autopsies per year on average. The trial was subsequently adjourned until Wednesday, March 26, when Sarangi will continue his evidence in chief. Stewart, Cleavon, and Grant are charged with manslaughter, misconduct in a public office, and perverting the course of justice under allegations that they were the officers on duty at the Barnett Street lockup at the time when Deane was beaten. Stewart also allegedly ordered the cleaning of the cell where the beating took place before investigators from the Independent Commission of Investigations arrived. Gunmen on motorcycle causing havoc, cops say latest murder gang related. A series of deadly stoplight gun attacks in the corporate area and along main thoroughfares is becoming a growing concern for potential bystanders and the unsuspecting motorists going about their lawful business day to day. In the latest roadway killing of a motorist and the shooting injury of a bystander, the early morning commute was brought to a standstill yesterday at the busy intersection of Malines Road and Washington Boulevard about 8:40 a.m. The deceased has been identified as 29-year-old Whitcliffe Riley, otherwise called Shane, of a Roswell Avenue Marvelly address. Reports from the St. Andrew South Police are that Riley was driving along Malines Road, approaching the stoplight when gunmen on a motorcycle rode up and opened the fire on his gray Toyota Probox. He was shot in the upper body and head, leaving him slumped over the steering wheel while the vehicle was still in motion. Another man standing close by also received gunshot wounds. Both men were rushed to hospital, where Riley was pronounced dead and the other man admitted. When the news arrived on the scene, traffic was piled up, coming from halfway tree towards Malines Road and also along Washington Boulevard as crime detectives processed the scene. A motorist who spoke with the news said a delay in getting to the area may have prevented her from getting caught up in the shooting. I was just 3 or 4 cars away from the shooting. These kinds of killings are becoming frequent. It's always men on bikes who come up to their target and start shooting. They don't care if anyone else gets hurt or even die. These appear to be contract killing or reprisal, so the aim is to execute at all costs. I am glad I wasn't closer, the female motorist said. On March 2, the St. Andrew North Police launched a probe into the pre-dawn murder of 26-year-old Stephen Trenchfield, who was gunned down while traveling in his Mercedes-Benz SUV along Constant Spring Road. Armed men traveling on motorcycles opened fire on the vehicle in the vicinity of Dunrobin Avenue stoplight. Trenchfield was hit and rushed to hospital where he was pronounced dead. In another stoplight featuring murder, also in the corporate area and near the previously mentioned incident, 12-year-old Kevon Ferron was shot and killed and his mother injured on January 24. The St. George's College student succumbed to gunshot injuries after he, his mother, and his brother were ambushed by men on a motorcycle about 7:30 a.m. The news understands the woman who was driving came to a stop at the Lindsay Crescent and the Dunrobin Avenue stoplight when men on a motorcycle opened a fire on the vehicle. Spent casings were found along the roadway. There have been no reports of arrest in any of the fatal shooting incidents. I don't know if it's me alone realize that there aren't any arrests, and the fact that these intersections have security cameras is no deterrent. The gunmen believe once their deadly operations involve the use of a motorcycle, they will get away. We can't be out here selling and lose our lives same way. We as a people too vicious against one another and just sit down and plot to take each other's life. There's no more to life, a vendor said following yesterday's deadly attack. The police theorize that Riley's death is linked to the deadly ongoing feud between factions of the top and the bottom Marvally gang. Investigators say Riley, who is known to them, is aligned to the top Marvally faction. The news understands that his killing is a reprisal for the death of Orlando David, who was among 6 people shot coming from a wake on February 23. David succumbed to injuries in the attack, believed to be orchestrated by the top Marvally gang. The St. Andrew South Criminal Investigation Branch is investigating Monday's murder and the shooting. This police division leads all 19 police divisions with 25 murders up to March 22. In Sam Sharp Square. Mayor of Montego Bay, Councillor Richard Vernon, has expressed hopes that nearby closed-circuit television cameras operated by the police will provide them with information about who is responsible for defacing the statues in Sam Sharp Square. The police that operate within the space, they have cameras there and they should be able to help us to identify the perpetrators so that the necessary actions can be facilitated, he told the news. Vernon, however, said that if the individuals were discovered, he was uncertain what kind of punitive actions could be taken. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust, they are custodians of these artifacts, monuments, heritage sites, and they are the ones that are able to exact any kind of penalties where breaches or tampering are concerned, he explained. On Monday, it was discovered that a green-looking paint had been used to stain the 5 statues located in the area, which had been set up as a monument to the work of national hero Sam Sharp. Vernon lambasted the actions of the individuals involved in carrying out such an act. We have to pay more respect to these representations of our history, and I saw a post on social media yesterday, and when I looked at the comment section, I realized that persons were very angry, and rightly so, because this is unacceptable and we have to do better as a people, he said. I am urging them to desist from doing so. These artifacts, they are historical symbols of our past and where we want to be in terms of moving forward, and they represent persons who have done significant things for Jamaica, who have done well, and who have made the sacrifice for where we are today as a people, he said. He said that this is not the first time they have had to deal with such a situation, as he explained that about 2 years ago they had a similar occurrence. At that point, he said that they put in measures to prevent such a recurrence. We had to build a rail around it so as to reduce the probability of persons accessing them, and even with that in place, they still try to go there and deface and vandalize, and that is disheartening, and I am urging them to desist, he said. As it relates to remedying the issue, he said that they have been in dialogue with the trust on rectifying the matter because that entity would know how to treat it more than the corporation. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust, we have called them to explain what happened, and they are sending a team. I believe they should be here by now to assess the vandalism. I understand, he explained. We have to allow them to look at it, do the investigations and assessment, and then make the necessary recommendations, he said.